Hello everyone, I'm Professor K and I'm going to give you overview of Canvas, where to find things on Canvas in this video. So this is an orientation video for general biology and also I'll go over the syllabus. So this is the home page. So if you click home, this is the page you're going to get to. And this is showing you the course information, syllabus, course schedule, video lectures, assignments. Also shows you my contact information. That's my email. So if you want to contact me, you can email me, but I prefer that you message me through Canvas inbox here. I check them more often. I also have in-person office hours on Mondays and Wednesdays in S115. So my office is located in the science building. If you cannot make it into in-person office hours and you have a question, you can also again message me through Canvas and we can set up a Zoom appointment. So first thing I'm going to click on the syllabus. Once you click the syllabus, this is a page you're going to get to. So again, I'm your lecture instructor. I'm not going to meet with you in person, and this is your lab instructor. That's my email. I'll also put up the email for your lab instructor. Again, these are my office hours, and this is a hybrid course, which means the lecture is asynchronous, but you do have lab meetings in person on Fridays at 1:45 to 4:50 in S134. This is in Science Building. So lectures online, it's asynchronous. The video links are on Canvas, but they're due on various days throughout the week. So just, click on the video when see when it's due, or check Canvas calendar, which I'm going to show you where to find that. It's highly recommended to check it very often so you don't miss out on any assignments. This is the course description. Again, you can read through that. And again, the lab meetings are in person. Participation is mandatory. You can only miss maximum of 2 labs during the semester. So let's say there's one Friday lab that you cannot make it to, but you can come to maybe another lab during that week. So just email me. I do teach multiple lab sections during the week. Email me a week before. So maybe if you can't make it to Friday lab, maybe you can come to maybe a Monday lab or Wednesday lab so you don't miss out on any points. You also need Respondus Lockdown browser for the exams. This is a textbook we're using, electronic copy or hard copy. Either or is okay. I'll send you more information on that, where you can buy that. Lab materials, lab packets are available at the bookstore, the San Jose City bookstore. I will give you a copy of the first lab though. So if you don't have the lab manual the first week, that's okay. I'll be making some copies for everybody. You'll need a webcam and Lockdown browser on your computer. Again, you can click this link, download it, and then you'll need to open the Lockdown browser on your computer and then log into Canvas through the browser. And then you'll be able to take the exam. If you have any issues at all, call this number. So if you don't know how this works or how to download it or whatever, just call them and they're very helpful. But you have to call them during the hours. I think it's 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. But you can, again, go to the information technology services and check their hours. So these are some of the course expectations, what I expect of you, what you can expect of me. I'm gonna let you read through this on your own. These are our learning outcomes. We're going to learn all this during the semester. And here's the grading policy. Lecture exams were 35% of your grade. Lab work is 25% of your grade. Lecture homework is 10%. And lecture videos are 30%. You'll notice that lecture videos almost worth close to the exams. So the lecture videos, the way that work, you're gonna play the video and then the question's gonna pop up between the video. And you're gonna answer those questions and you gain points. So you have two attempts on each video. It's gonna you can complete it once, and if you don't get good points on it, you can do it again. Lecture quizzes and homework were 10%. Again, you have 2 attempts and it's open note, open book. You can take it twice and it's going to take your highest score. Here is the grading scale for the course. For the late policy, I'll go over that in a minute, but for the lecture videos, it's highly recommended that you don't fall behind on those because each video builds on the previous lecture. So for example, chapter 6 is gonna build on chapter 5 and so on. So if you fall behind, you're gonna still have to watch the previous content to kind of catch up on what you're learning. So each video needs to be completed to be able to move on to the next one, because the next module won't open unless you complete the videos. So you are able to receive partial credit on the videos that you turn in late. So this is the late schedule for the lecture videos. So if it's on time, you get full credit. If it's 1 day late, you get 90%, 2 day late, 80%, 3 days, 70%. So that's the late policy for the videos. Same thing for the lab reports, 10% of the maximum points per each lab period that is overdue. So if you don't turn it on the date due, you wait another day, it's gonna be you're gonna be losing some points. So the lab quizzes, your lab instructor can inform you about that if they plan to have lab quizzes during the lab. Lecture exams will be through Canvas. No makeup exams are given, and there are no dropped exams. I do have exam makeup policy. So for example, if there's a medical emergency, then you can refer to this policy. So at the makeup exams are given at the end of the semester again, because I have to write a new exam. Under these two circumstances, you or the family member have a medical emergency, and you can verify this with a doctor's note. Contact me through email within 24 hours of the exam. And then try to notify me at least 1 week in advance. But again, if it's an emergency, it's okay if you can't notify me in a week, but at least try to do so as soon as you can. And then you will need documentation. Scheduled medical appointments do not count as emergency. Exams are closed book, closed notes, and you'll need Respondus lockdown browser for the exams. There are study guides available on Canvas that you can use to take the exam. So they're very helpful for the exams if you decide to do them, but they're optional. So they're not mandatory. You can do them, and if you decide to do them, then you can turn them in for extra points towards the exams. For example, if you decide to do the study guide for chapter 1, 2, and 3, you can get 3 extra points towards the exam, the first exam. Labs, so they are in person. No makeup labs are possible because we have to do a whole setup. But again, if you cannot make it to Friday lab, you can come to the lab that's on Wednesday or Monday, the week before. So you can just email me and we can see if we can find you a seat in earlier labs in case you have something going on Friday. So that way you won't lose any points. So lab attendance is mandatory. No cell phones are allowed in the lab. You have to keep those in your backpack. Labs start right on schedule time. So be there on time. And if you miss more than 2 labs, you'll be dropped from the course or receive a F if that's if the final drop or withdrawal date has passed. So again, go through these lab policies. They're very important. Attendance is mandatory. So the way attendance is taken is if you miss 1 week's worth of lectures during the semester, you can be dropped from the class, because that's how I take lecture attendance. For the labs, you allow 2 absences, but if it's more than 2, you receive a failing grade in the course. Here's the exam proctoring policy. So some guidelines you have to follow when you take the exam. Make sure your computer is fully charged. You have a webcam, you have a microphone. You have to close everything on your computer. If you have a Mac, sometimes you have your phone connected to your computer and it's gonna give you notifications for text messages or whatever. It's gonna, and if you have the notifications turned on during the exam is gonna exit automatically. So make sure you have your notifications off So that way your exam is not interrupted. So it's just gonna close the exam for you. So you might not even finish if something happens in between the exam. So just make sure you take care of that before you start the exam. You'll need your photo ID, make sure you have outlet space, and you have to place your webcam, your shoulders up, so your face is fully visible. And a couple more things here. You have to remain at the computer for the duration of the test. So just make sure you read these, because if you don't follow any of these rules and it marks you for any suspicious activity, you get automatically a 0 for that test. So just make sure you read this. I will also be sending this to you right before the exam. So you have to follow these guidelines to take the exam. The lab instructor will go over your lab safety during class. We have a PLTL program. This is a peer-led study program. So we're supposed to have a couple tutors for the class. Once that's finalized, I'll send you the schedule for it. So if you need to attend some tutoring focused on this course, you can attend this. So these students who are the tutors, they are my previous students. For example, they took class in the last semester or the semester before, so they kind of know how it works. And then you can also gain extra points for attending tutoring. You can gain up to 20 points that goes towards the exams again. You can go through the cheating and plagiarism policy. Again, if there's any suspicious activity, you automatically get 0 points for that exam. You can go over these accessibility services if you're SAS student. Send me the accommodations you need and I'll work on that. And here's your student code of conduct. Again, you can review some of the stuff on your own. So I'm gonna go back to Canvas now to show you a couple things are. And so next you have course schedule. When you click on that, you get to this document. Here's your lab schedule. Your labs are on Fridays. These are the topics for the lab. You have a couple holidays as well. You have 3 holidays. And then this is your lecture schedule. I made it to Tuesday, Thursday. So your lectures are due on Tuesday, Thursday by midnight. And then I also put a note to keep checking your Canvas calendar just to make sure you don't miss anything. And then your exams are scheduled for Mondays. So your first exam is on a Monday, second exam is on a Monday, third one too. But your last exam falls on a Thursday, which is your last final exam. Final is not cumulative. So it's just chapter 17 to 19. The exams will open at 8 a.m. on Monday and they'll close at 8 p.m. on Monday. So during that time, just find some, keep aside an hour or two to take the exam. So you have 12 hours. Between those 12 hours, find some time to take the exam. Because unless you have a medical emergency, exams cannot be made up. I tried putting 3 chapters on each exam. One of the exams has a couple more chapters, but if we need to break it down more, we can. And again, going back here, we have modules. Here's your to-do list, actually. So this shows you what's due when. But I think a better place to find out what's due when is to go to your calendar. So view course calendar, when you click that, and I'm gonna go into January. So it's gonna show you that you have a video due on Tuesday of the first week, 3, and then a couple due on Thursday. So these videos, I broke them down into 10 to 12 minutes, just to, make sure you pay attention. We have short attention spans these days. So chapter 1 has 5 videos, but each video is like 10 minutes or 12 minutes. And I try putting 1 chapter per week. We have 19 chapters to cover, but we have 16 weeks. So there might be a week or two when you have to cover 2 chapters. Actually, we have 18 chapters to cover. I took 1 out. So there might be 2 weeks when you have a little bit more, but you will have mostly 1 chapter per week and then the homework quiz. So if I click on the next month, you'll see everything is due Tuesdays and Thursdays. So those are the days. And the purpose of that is so you can learn the lecture content before you do the lab on Friday. So that's the reason these are due on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I think this is a good place to find what to do when. Going back to the home page, we also have modules. Under modules, first thing you have is exams. So you'll see your exams. I'll add them here for example, first exam, you'll see it coming up here. It's gonna say exam 1, chapter 1 to 3. And there's this tab that says essay questions for chapter 1 through 19 for exam. When you click it, I put the essay questions, potential essay questions, for example, for chapter 1 through 3. You have this question for chapter 1. You have couple fill in the blank stuff for chapter 2. And then for chapter 3, you have, this is chapter 5, chapter 4. So there should be another question for chapter 3. I'll see if I need to update it. I will do that. But then again, you have another one for chapter 5. You have one for chapter 4. So these are, I'm not going to collect these aren't due, but these are the questions that can pop up on the exam. There will be at least 1 to 2 essay questions on each exam, at least one for sure. And then, for example, if I give you a worksheet like this, I'll be taking a couple questions from the worksheet, putting them on the exam. So you actually have the essay questions that you'll see on the exam. So you can work on these on your own time. And then you can basically print the whole thing and start working on it, and you'll see these questions on the exam. So I just gave you those ahead of time. And then you have the orientation module. So you have to complete the item in order to get to the next module, basically. So orientation to the course, you have this page, but on the top, you'll notice you have different tabs. So you have to go through all this information in order to basically get to the next module. So just read through it, it's course information. And then this here gives you more information about the course. So you have to, again, go through the tabs in order to get to the next tab. And then that's Q&A. We can ask questions here. Your classmates can answer. If I see it, I'll answer. This is the orientation video. So this is the video that you'll be doing basically to get introduced to the course. So this is the one I'm recording right now. And then you get to chapter 1 and 2. This is the one I want to show you. So here you have your learning objectives. What you will learn, what you'll do. Chapter 1 overview. So you'll be watching pre-recorded lectures. You'll be reading the chapter from your textbook or your electronic textbook. You'll be doing the chapter homework for first chapter. You can complete the study guide for the first chapter if you want to. Again, that's optional. But if you do complete it, I would recommend you turn it in so you can get some extra points. Here's your lecture content. This is your first lecture, first chapter. This is your second chapter. Again, these videos are short. I broke them down into a couple videos. If you click on this video, it's going to pop up, play pause video where you can answer question, get points. Let's say you did your 2 attempts, you have your 4 points, you're done with this part. Now it's exam time and you want to go back and watch one of the videos. Then you can click this YouTube link. So if you click this link, it's without the questions, you can forward it, you can, go back however you want to. Then you can watch them on here. Here's your study guide for chapter 1 and chapter 2. You can do this again for some points. And then if you're a visual person, I also added some extra resources like these videos on topics that might be a little bit difficult to understand. You can watch these if you want to. Under assignments, this is what to do basically. You have your chapter 1, you have chapter 1 quiz, chapter 2 quiz. You have to click, you can click the assignment to see when it's due, or you can go on assignments tab and see when it's due. Or you can go to your course calendar, which I highly recommend. And then you have your chapter 3, same thing going on with that. I also made review videos for each chapter, so you can watch these before the exams. They also are for points, and for example, this is for 2 points, and they do have due dates. And then you get to your first exam. It's not showing me this tab because again, I have to complete the video in order for this assignment to open. So I'm gonna leave your student view, but this is what it's supposed to look like. So you have basically a tab for your first exam. And when you click on that, it's gonna tell you what this exam covers. It's covering chapter 1 through 3, how much time you have for the exam, how many questions. And it's gonna give you basically exam 1 consists of chapter 1 through 3. So you have your lecture slides again here for each chapter, and then you have your videos for the chapter. Under extra resources, I made some codes. This gives you some practice questions. You can do that. And you have the chapter review videos, which you probably already completed if you got to this module. Here you can turn in the study guide. Let's say you did chapter 1, 2, and 3. You can get 3 extra points for first exam. So you can upload that here. If you only did chapter 1, you can still get 1 point and you can upload that. So whatever you have, you can upload it. Under assignments, you have your first exam and optional study guide here. So those are the main tabs basically. So you have your each tab for each chapter here, and you have tab for each exam. So I go view as a student again. I go under assignments, and it's gonna show me the assignments, basically upcoming assignments when they're due. You can also use this, and you can select by date to turn in the assignments, but I always go to course calendar, so that's what I recommend. So I'll be posting some announcements about the textbook and sending you guys a message as well. But let me know if you guys have any questions. You can again contact me through Canvas inbox, or you can contact me through my email. I prefer that you send me a message through Canvas inbox. But that's all I have for you now. Again, let me know if you have any questions at all. Let me stop recording.